everybody. Welcome to episode 47 of Around the Verse. I'm Sandy Gardner.
I'm Ben Lesnick, and our big news this week is that Sandy Gardner's here.
I am here. I am here this week and a little bit of next week.
You're going back to London for more Squadron 42?
I am going back to London for more Squadron 42.
Now, I know you can't tell us what
Anything.
Exactly you were doing or who you were working with, but what was it like?
It was really good fun. The headset hurts a little bit after a while, but it was actually really good fun. The other actors were very giving. So we had a lot of good giggles on set, and Chris was pretty happy.
It sure looks like he's been really into it from the videos.
Yeah, he's been very happy, and the crew is amazing. So that's always fun when everybody's fun to work with. And we've had lots of good improvisation, which is kind of funny. You saw the one where Chris was improvising the Hornet.
I saw the pool noodle, and then there was one where he was flying a car, like a plywood Hornet.
Yes, yes. So everything, all of our props have been made out of plywood, which is kind of fun. My locker and my spaceship.
Nope, spoiler warning, Sandy has both a locker and a spaceship.
Yeah. That's what we were supposed to do, is talk about the SP-42 ship. Yes.
And so we did.
And so we did. The Miscreant concept launch was a huge success. More ships sold than any concept sale in history.
It was a really good one. I mean, everybody's proud of it. We can't wait to get that one into the engine for you guys to fly, probably a little bit later this year. But a very cool ship. And if you didn't have a chance to pick one up, you can still check out the design post on the site.
And I was actually very excited to see that we launched that sale at 9 a.m.
It was definitely a first also.
Amazing. Maybe that contributed to why we were a success for that one.
Possibly. Well, you're the marketing genius, so you would know better. But
well, first of all, people aren't asleep, so maybe maybe that helps. But anyhow, thank you very much, everybody, and we are excited to fly that Reliant when it gets ready and flyable.
Definitely.
Our friends at In Exile have kicked off their next Kickstarter to make a sequel to The Bard's Tale. Most
of you may be too young to remember The Bard's Tale, but it was a series of dungeon crawling RPGs in the mid to late 80s, and Brian Fargo and his team are bringing it back. As we shoot, they've just launched their Kickstarter a couple hours ago, and I believe it's already over $400,000. Congratulations, guys. We look forward to playing it.
Now let's go to the Spectrum for news from Around the Verse.
Hi everybody, and welcome back to sunny Santa Monica, California for our update for Around the Verse. I'm Travis Day, and I'm joined by
Eric Howard Davis.
So
Hello.
Here we are to talk to you a little bit about what's been going on in the studio. I think we'll start with the update on the characters.
Characters. That's a big push for us right now. FPS characters. We're trying to get that wrapped up this week. Another big thing for characters for us is just trying to unify them globally. So as you'd imagine, Star Citizen is a very large game. We have a lot of characters. They're interacting in a lot of different ways. So one of the big things, some of you watched a few weeks ago, we were in the UK, just creating the character pipeline, really coming up with a pipeline that makes sense and delivers really quality assets and really a quality immersive experience with your characters.
And it's similar, I mean, you guys will know like what happened with ships when the ships got a proper pipeline and we started being able to crank them out much quicker. And so the goal of the establishment of this pipeline, right, is to be able to service all of the modules and their needs for characters at a much higher pace.
Totally. We want to put this together so we're kind of creating this one solid unified look for our characters, like the ships, so we can get something that we're delivering quickly and that we all feel good about and looks good in all of our modules.
Yeah, no, it should be great. I mean, it's something that I think a lot of people are looking forward to, like character customization and different hairstyles. So I think having all that be possible is going to be great.
Yeah, that's our goal.
Some other things that we've been working on here in the Santa Monica studio are basically getting prepared for multi-crew. We've been you've heard us talk a fair amount about this, and you'll continue to hear us talk a fair amount about this because multi-crew is a big part of space combat, and that's what we're charged with here in LA. So we're doing some of the work with the UK right now on the early concepts for what exactly each station is going to look like, what the interactions are going to be, what the gameplay is going to be, as well as what is a turret gunner need to know, how much information does he need to be able to pass to others on the team, or what information does he need. So that's a big focus right now, as well as the transiting of ships, so getting into and out of them, all the work that's gone into the local physics grid from our friends in Germany, and getting that working and tested, and getting new. Oh, I almost said something I wasn't supposed to. But getting everything ready for the future, and
It's gonna be cool.
when we release that,
Yeah.
whenever that is,
Yeah.
it'll be good. And so it's
Totally.
something we're putting a lot of focus in. I know for myself and for a lot of people on the team that have joined, the multi-crew, that Millennium Falcon, don't get cocky kid experience is the thing that everybody has wanted to do for a long time. So it's something that really ignites the passion for the team, and it's fun to see. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the update, and thank you very much for tuning in. We'll see you next week.
See ya.
Hi, I'm David Langoliers. I'm senior producer here at Ophonic. A couple things I wanted to talk to you about this week. The first one is we are mostly focused this week on dealing with ground-based combat in normal gravity on the Gold Horizon station. The animators have been working through a lot of the juke start-stop system, and to do that, we've been doing a lot of play testing on in-gravity situations. And we've also received and have been receiving more new data for all the jukes and starts and stops. There's a lot of different situations depending on which direction you're turning, how fast you're going. And we're still waiting on a couple more animations that should be coming in this week. A lot of the other work that's been going on this week has been focused around network profiling. So we were looking at all the packets and all the bandwidth that was being used, and there's quite a bit of data there that either can be compressed or thrown out or just done in a more efficient manner. So two of our engineers this week have been solely focused on just looking at all the different data that's going across the network and finding out the best way to optimize that, which in turn ends up getting you guys a much smoother experience, higher frames per second over the network, and just less lag in general. So yeah, that's been our primary focus this week, and we'll see you next week. Thanks, guys.
Hey guys, Jake Ross here, the associate producer on the Persistent Universe. I'm here flying solo this week, but I got an update for you nonetheless. We've got Behavior working on the Nix Delamar Levski landing zone, as you guys probably are aware. This week they moved from gray box phase, which is basically, adding detail to the base mesh and getting, initial detail pass. That's all kind of squared away, so they moved on to shader and texture phase, which is adding in the textures and the shaders, obviously. So making it look nice and gritty and dirty is their next goal for that environment. Then we've also got Andrew Wynn wrapped up his mining gameplay prototype this past week. So he's passed that off to the designers to play around with, so they can get in and actually provide some feedback there, make it just as good as they want. And while they're doing that, Andrew's going to be moving on to the Pioneer gameplay occupation, which is the next thing that we're tackling, which is used to be called Exploration, but now we've kind of got it more of a centralized name for it. Pioneer is what we're calling it. So that'll be fun to see coming online here pretty soon. And then after that, we've got the Universe Simulator. Kind of got the base functionality is nearly there. Wormbyte's working on that. It's formerly called the Economic Simulator. The Universe server is functional. It allows for visualization of the solar systems now, and you can zoom in and see ships flying from a point of interest to another. The Solar System Service is able to read from the database and get probability data from the Universe server now. So that's exciting. It's the first steps toward getting a full-blown Universe simulator in effect. So that's all I got for you this week. I'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye.
Hey y'all, Mike here once again from sunny Winslow in Foundry 42, coming at you again with another brief update from the team here at Foundry 42. And I'm here today with another Mike, Mike's greatest name in the world, and he's here to tell you a little bit about what he does. So Mike, would you like to tell the audience what you're all about?
Sure, yeah. Well, I'm Mike Snowden. I'm Foundry 42's lead VFX artist. So yeah, I make things go boom.
Which, as we know, is one of the best elements of the
Yep,
game.
there's a lot of it required on this game.
So what exactly have you been working on lately?
Well, all kinds of stuff. Very kind of typical of the project, really. There's a lot of effects going on. Personally, at the moment, I've been working on a lot of ship stuff. So that's the damage effects, including some new tech that we recently trialed on the Gladiators. So we're kind of rolling that out onto other ships. Across the team, we're working on all kinds of stuff, big lightning, clouds in space,
Nice.
that kind of thing, nebulas,
Big
all that
colourful
kind of
nebulas,
exciting.
yeah.
The big scale stuff, quite
Yeah.
experimental, but looking good at the moment.
Yeah.
We're also doing kind of smaller effects as well, like interior sparks and steam and smoke, that kind of thing. Just getting that to a slightly more polished level.
Cool.
So it's looking good.
Without going into any kind of spoilers or anything, what's the most exciting thing that you've been working on for yourself?
I think it's the damage stuff on the ships for me personally.
Yeah.
As I say, I'm quite heavily involved in that at the moment. So that's a good challenge. We've obviously got quite a range of scale of ships as well. So getting that kind of level of fidelity across the range of ships.
As I say, it's something that we've seen very rarely in the industry, isn't it? So
I think so. Yeah.
It's quite pioneering. So
absolutely.
Yeah. So that itself must be a challenge. Like
definitely, but a good one. A fun one.
Yeah. No, that's cool, man. That's cool. I say that we don't really have much more that we can talk about today without giving too much away. So we'll keep it short and sweet today. So thanks once again for watching. We've been the mics of Foundry 42, and praise the sun.
Oh, that was pretty.
That was pretty. That was really pretty.
Try to fire those missiles at me now.
All that and more on the latest Empire Report.
Big thank you to our studios from around the world. Things are looking great.
Now let's go to James, who had a chance to sit down with technical designer Matt Sherman.
The Shermanator.
I always feel like he's from Star Wars, actually.
Thanks, guys. I'm here with Matt Sherman. Matt, how you doing?
Doing good, James.
Thanks for joining us.
Yep.
So you're a technical designer on the project.
Yep.
You just did some work on a ship that we just recently sold called the Reliant. You want to go through that a little bit?
Yeah, so really happy with that. Did the spec setup for the Reliant, so planning out what its loadout is, also starting to plan out the variants, what the ship's going to be capable of, and then was able to hand that over to Dave Hobbins, who did the incredible job of designing the outside of the ship and like what it really looks like.
How much did you work with Hobbins? Was it a back and forth? Or was it like, here you go?
We had a couple group meetings, but mostly it was you let Dave work because he can just come up with some really incredible stuff. And I mean, anytime that we had to give feedback, it was always just really easy. He'd come in, we'd meet up, and get the ship planned out. And a lot of it actually fell into place easier than we thought. We're like, okay, we're gonna need this, this, and this, and he's like, I've got those. And it's like, great.
Yeah, I remember that meeting. We need all these images in order to put them out, and then he's like, here you go.
Yeah.
And we're like, dang, that's more than we needed.
Yeah, it's like, we'll save those two for later even. So, yeah, I mean, he's an absolute professional, so it was a really good experience.
Yeah, Hobbins, he might have a future in this industry.
He may.
He might be going places. So besides the Reliant, can you go into a little bit of what else you're working on?
The biggest thing recently has been the physically based damage system and that just everything that encompasses. So when we get this set up, it's going to be a big sweeping balance pass across the game because, well, for changing weapons, we have to change ship health. And for doing that, we got to change shields, we got to change power, we got to change coolers. We have to update everything to bring it in line, but it's also such a huge sweeping change that we really start to get like time to kill numbers, which are a bit low right now. We can start getting those up to a better place in this one big pass. So it's really exciting just for how it's going to help shape the game in the coming months.
So when you change one variable and it creates this cascade effect, does that mean you have to involve other people in the process?
Not well. for what we're doing at this point, it is definitely a big cascade thing. But the other big goal is to build it up so that in the future, once this is out, it won't be that much of a ripple where we'll be able to change things a bit more compartmentalized than having to do this big broad sweep. So
it's trying to do some of the heavy lifting up front so you can do the lighter load later.
Exactly.
You're also one of the people we go to when we have a balance update or balance question. Do you kind of want to go into where you see the game at now, where you're trying to get it to?
Yeah, absolutely. Right now we're a little bit too fast. 2 seconds on a target and you can just bring them down, just tons of missiles. You can bring someone down a bit fast. And so we definitely need to grow that time. Ideally, somewhere in like a 15 to 20 second range, maybe a little bit more. So it shouldn't be like a minutes long fight on a 1v1, but it shouldn't be a blink and you're dead moment either. It should be something where you need some time on the target and you really get to feel like you're maneuvering well, you're targeting well, you're flying your ship well to keep your weapons on that target, as opposed to just the kill them instantly. So I mean that's going to be one of the biggest things the new damage update's going to bring, is just really stretch that time out a bit more and make it feel weighty.
When you think about balance, how is it this long process you have in your head of incremental changes that are happening, almost constantly, or is it big chunks of changes? Like, we'll do a lot of things on this day and then this day, or is it kind of?
So the goal is to be incremental on it. Right now, especially the system, we have to do a big chunk where the best way to describe balance is a pendulum. You pull it back, and so right now we're pulling the ball back and getting ready to let it go. But then even once we release this, it's going to be swinging back and forth until it settles down into that nice middle ground. It'll never stay still, like you'll never come to a stop, but the range and how far off that balance is going to get dialed in more and more just as the project goes on.
Well, thank you so much for coming on, man. Thank you for taking the time to come down here and talk to us and to the backers, and back to you guys.
Thanks, James. And in honor of Sandy's return, no pun.
Now we're throwing it over to Lisa Ohanian with this week's Ship Shape, and I hear it has a new intro.
Check it out.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Ship Shape. We have a new intro. Did you guys see that? It's awesome. It was made by one of our backers, Michael Westfall. Thank you so much for creating that. We all love it over here at Cloud Imperium. This week on Ship Shape, we're going to be talking about the Starfarer. Now, the Starfarer is a MISC ship with some unique fueling functionality. This ship is able to collect fuel from space, haul fuel around, and even refuel other ships in space. People are able to use it to haul other things, but because it's built for such a specialized functionality, people tend to overwhelmingly use it for fuel purposes. This ship is being worked on by Foundry 42, our UK studio. When I first reached out for them on any special insights about working on this ship, the first thing Matt said, who's currently working on the interior, is that it is way bigger on the inside than it appears on the outside, just like the TARDIS. While this is inconvenient for Matt, it's really good for you guys since it is a cargo ship that you'll want to be carrying lots of stuff. Now we have some work in progress images of the airlock chamber. Now these are very early, mostly to get a feel for what the room is going to look like. They wanted me to let you guys know, design hasn't looked at it yet. We want to make sure that it flows well with all of the other chambers of the ship, and the art director, Paul Jones, is not a fan of the yellow. It's still one of our first passes at what the airlock chamber is going to look like. When they're finished with this room, they only have a few rooms left to work on, namely the power plant and the gravity generator room. After they've finished with these, they're going to take full force to matching the exterior of the ship to the interior. Of course, we had some passes at this to make sure that there weren't going to be any glaring miscommunications about the two matching up, but this is when we really dig down and get into the nitty-gritty. We also have some images of the exterior of the ship. These are much older, concept-y type images, not nearly as far along or as finalized as the interior of the ship. The first one here are some of our very early images when we were first figuring out the look of this ship. We ended up not using any of these because we thought they were a little bit too bulky and didn't really look much like a ship that could fly around very effectively. Now here on the second image, we have some early shape inspiration sketches. You'll notice over on the left of this image, we have some inspiration and reference images from the real world that we wanted to inform the shape and functionality of the Starfarer. That's it for Ship Shape today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. And thank you again to Micah Westfall for designing our wonderful new logo. Thanks.
Thanks, Lisa.
Now let's kick it over to Travis Day, who is going to be talking about the testing plans for Star Marine. Take it away, Travis.
Hey everybody, Travis here. I was going to give you guys a little update on Star Marine and where we're at. So we've been talking a fair amount. We've given the large community update. The post, if you haven't seen it, go check it out online, kind of covering all the different features and details of what we're going to be doing. As we progress through the development process, we've been as you know, working to get this out to you guys for quite a little while now, and so I wanted to give you a little bit of an update on kind of the things that still are remaining polish items and things that we need to clean up before it's ready to go into a testing phase with you guys. So I would say, you know, one of the big things, first of all, is we're still working on finalizing the locomotion of the character. There's things we have done called starts, stops, and jukes. And this is basically like if you've played, gosh, what's a good example? Like Assassin's Creed, if you play Assassin's Creed and you see the way that the character has real weight when he moves, something that's very important to Chris is he wants this to feel like a simulation in all aspects, including how the character moves. So with the character movement, we wanted to get a system whereby when you start running, you don't immediately just start sprinting at 10 meters a second or something crazy. You actually have like a ramp up time to speed up, ramp time to slow down, change direction, and then there's balancing that with the gameplay and how you need to be able to react to the situation around you very quickly, but you also want to have that feeling of real weight and, you know, encumberment from your armor. So that's a system we're working on perfecting right now, and it's kind of one of those things that without the base locomotion completely finalized, you know, a lot of the feedback and the testing would be, you know, of mixed usage, because it would be giving us feedback on things that we're still actively working on finalizing the way we want it to be in our vision for the product. So then that's that. There's another one which is, we've talked a little bit about it and I think it's worth revisiting, which is the new instance manager. So the generic instance manager is being worked on by the Austin network engineer team. And it's a very big core feature to this update because, as you know, we've had issues in the past with the matchmaking system, along with the issues of you know, scalability, right? So scalability has always been a big issue for Arena Commander, and we'd like to fix that with the FPS release. So one of the things that we're truly trying to take our time and get right is an entirely new back-end matchmaking system, which will make it possible for everybody who joins the FPS to actually experience the FPS, and if you want to play, be able to play and be able to play with people that are properly matchmaked to your level. So that's something we feel is very important, to have a good player experience and, you know, make it, I mean, testing is testing, but testing should also be fun and it should work. It shouldn't be a frustrating experience. So it's one of the other things that's important to us to get done before we get it out to you guys. You know, lastly, I think I would talk a little bit about the fact that even though these features that we're trying to finish and finalize and really narrow down to before we get it out there would leave other departments, you know, idly waiting and twiddling their thumbs as they're trying to get these things online, We've taken that extra time to basically just go and do additional polish, right? So the guys that otherwise are not involved in things like the base locomotion set, the zero-G locomotion set, which is another big thing, adding of the Aegis system, kind of like Euphoria. We have the art team, the lighters, they're going back and they're refining and polishing, and so hopefully when we get it out to you guys, we'll have a really good, solid base experience that is valuable to get the feedback on. And hopefully we should have it fairly stable also by the time that it gets out to you guys, because there's nothing worse than you're trying to test something, you're trying to repro something, and the game crashes, or you can't get into a match, or you get into a match and it crashes, or the server crashes and kicks everybody out of the match. So getting all of these things ironed out that are known issues are really important to us before we turn it over to a large group of people, because all you're going to see is that thing over and over and over, and you'll miss all the real fundamental things that we want you guys to test and give feedback on, which is the player experience. I mean, that's the value of having so many people be able to play it early on. So as we go ahead and we roll forward, the plan I wanted to share with you guys is we're going to do it for those of you who were around during the Arena Commander launch around this time last year. We're going to do it very similarly, where we're going to set it up on the PTU with a build, and we're going to do a phased rollout based on your citizen number. So we'll invite a fixed number of citizen numbers, have those people have access to this new PTU. Then they'll be able to go in there, try out the FPS, give us feedback, and we're going to attempt to patch bi-weekly. So twice a week, be patching this PTU. So if you have data-capped internet, maybe it's not for you, just to warn you, because we'll be patching very frequently. And as we get stability up and we get good feedback up and we iterate on that, then we're going to start opening it to more and more people. And then as we get more and more feedback, we'll open it to more and more people. And as we do this phased rollout, eventually we'll culminate with going live to everybody. That way we can make sure that by the time the whole community gets it in their hands, it'll happen progressively over time based on your seniority here, basically. And then by the time it comes out live, we should have a nice stable product for everybody to enjoy together. So lastly, I think it's important to revisit why FPS is a big deal. And I see a lot of people on the forums, they're like, oh, we just want to play the FPS module, we're going to have these team deathmatch fights, or oh, we just want to run around. And I think the important thing to realize about FPS is it's not just about the FPS module, the game mode. I mean, Star Marine as a module is going to be great. It's going to be a lot of fun. But the idea too is that we're developing the underlying FPS mechanics for the entirety of the game, right? So what we're developing for Star Marine is actually the underlying, when we get to multi-crew, how you're going to be able to EVA. So the whole zero-G setup is EVA in the persistent universe. It's how do you enter and how do you navigate? What is your player locomotion like in a persistent universe setting in zero-G? It's what are the weapon balances for you versus another player if you board their ship. I mean, it's all these things that play into the larger universe that need to be accounted for. And if we've coined the term that Star Citizen as a whole is a first-person universe, I mean, that's 2 out of 3 of the letters of FPS right there. So Star Marine is very important because it allows us, and once it's done, it'll allow us to make all of these things possible that have been, at least for me, as somebody who is looking forward to this game as well as working on this game, has been important to me, is that idea that you can get up out of your chair in the ship. You can run around your ship. You can jump into space and get on another ship. And this is kind of that linchpin of technology that makes that all possible. So it's something that, it's important to realize that Star Marine's going to be cool and it's going to be a lot of fun, but also the amount of doors that it opens and the amount of new play experiences that it presents for all the other modules is really not something to be discounted. It's going to be awesome. So anyways, cool. Thank you very much for your time, and I hope you enjoyed this mini ATV FPS update, and we look forward to having Star Marine out to you guys as soon as we can. Thanks.
That about wraps it up for Around the Verse, but Star Citizen marches on.
Check in tomorrow for the May 2015 monthly report.
Got updates from our studios around the world, including for the first time the folks in Germany.
This weekend we're selling the military-focused ships that were free fly last week.
The folks in CS have gotten a lot of requests to allow people to purchase the various ships they got to test out, so we're going to make the Super Hornet, the Mustang Delta, the Gladiator available again for a limited time. So if you're interested in one of those ships, check it out.
Yeah, and it wouldn't be Around the Verse without an art sneak peek.
make sure to tune into Reverse the Verse tomorrow on Twitch at 11 a.m. Pacific. Have your questions about Star Citizen answered and to hear a little bit more about that sneak peek.
Thank you to subscribers for making this show possible. We will see you next week on Around the Verse.
Can you change the animation? Yeah, that'd be funny. All right, that's good.
I did miss you, I have to say.
I missed you too.
Yeah, I know.
And everybody's like, oh, Ben and Sandy are so awkward together, but we're actually like, we're buddies.
Yeah, we are. We're buddies. We're good buddies.
We've been through heaven and hell together.
We have. And I harass Ben at all hours of the morning, like I did this morning at 4:30.
It's not 5 a.m. without the Sandy emails.
Exactly.